Hey, my name is Sarah and welcome back to another episode of Talking Fast. Alongside me, just like every single week, is Jacob.mrrs.
Full name, Sarah
name. I don't know your middle
Jenkins.
What's your middle name? I don't know your middle name.
Jacob Daniel Kirkham Morris.
I didn't know you had two middle names.
Well,
It's like a
second
last
name is
name?
actually a last name. Yeah, but it's
Are you a
under
hyphenated and then you
No,
dropped one? Oh,
no.
okay.
It's technically like on the passport, technically a middle name. Yeah,
Okay, I know a lot of people that have done that, like that their parents, like one of their parents,
and then
names is their
drop it
middle
and
name.
hyphenated it, or the other way around. Sorry.
Yeah, or they were hyphenated and they just kind of dropped it and only go by the last name.
I'm glad it's a middle name because it makes like government documents easier. And sometimes if you have a hyphenate, I feel like I have friends who had hyphenates and they would always
Drop one of them.
or like if they were filling out forms, it wouldn't be like picked up as a real name.
Oh, true.
Just issues, you know.
Wow, I didn't know you had two middle names. That's
I
so
shouldn't.
interesting.
I shouldn't be praised.
Wait,
though,
how did
for
you
knowing.
only know
It's
my?
'cause you
It's
just
because I said
you
you
sent
were
me your passport yesterday.
Wait, I was like, wait, how did you know my middle name? I don't think I've ever talked
But you know
about
what?
that.
I did know that already because I saw Nolan's passport and then I was looking at his name and then I was looking at your name, or I was like, I have to pull up Sarah's name, and I said it in my head. And
you
knew
then
it.
you looked and
no,
you
I
already
knew.
knew it?
Yes. So I did know it.
Interesting.
I did know it.
Wow, good to know.
There'll be a
Glad
test
you know me.
at the end of the year, Sarah.
Just-
if you know my name.
Well, it's already out of in one ear out the other. So roll it back. What are you eating or drinking this week?
I am going to give a recommendation for the casual pint, the casual drink.
A cheeky
Sarah.
pint.
A cheeky pint at a neighborhood spot. Listen, there's a lot of talk, especially in Toronto, other big cities. Oh, what's the hot restaurant? What's the cool place to go to?
Mm-hmm.
How about you just walk outside and you go to the closest place, the neighborhood watering hole?
Your neighborhood, to be clear.
Well, not my neighborhood. No, anyone's, whoever your
You're
neighborhood.
just saying go to a
Go
neighborhood.
to a neighborhood spot. Yeah, you're not there
But
for the
my
aesthetic.
neighborhood place
You're not
is
there
like
for the vibes.
Hunter's Landing.
Go to Hunter's Landing, then you walk in. You're not there for an experience. You're there to have a drink. You're there to meet up with a friend for an hour, and then you're gone.
That's fair.
I was there. I did that last night, and then I saw
Where'd you go? Doesn't even know the name. It was just a
Duke's
neighborhood.
Refresher.
You went to? That is also a chain.
Yeah, they opened a new one.
They opened a new one down the street.
Super
Okay.
close to me. I
Yeah.
won't say where, but
In the East End.
super close.
In the East End.
I loved it though, and you know what? It was a pleasant experience.
That's fair.
The staff, the servers, everyone was very nice, and great playlist actually.
I would love cheeky pint culture to be more of a thing here. Like it's such a thing in like the UK, in Ireland. Like when I was there, I just love that after work, it's like a no questions asked. Everybody goes for a pint and then they go home.
100%. Yeah, you're not there for the night. You're not there for
there
a
for like a
second.
couple
You're not even
hours.
there for a second.
You're there for
Maybe
an
a second.
hour.
Maybe half pint.
Maybe a half pint, an hour. Like you're there for a little bit, and then but it's like never like the rush to get home.
100%. So go
love
do
that.
that. Sarah, what are you eating or
Well,
drinking?
speaking of Ireland, because I went there, as you know, because I talked about it last week, but I love a meat pie. I need to find the best meat pie in Toronto. That's what I need.
I got a recommendation. There's a local butcher around the corner from me.
And
it's
they make a good
directly
one?
across from this Duke's Refresher. They have a bunch of meat pies in there. Yeah,
I
they're
love
good.
a meat pie. They actually low-key have good meat pies at Farm Boy that you can just like pop in the oven.
Yeah.
I love a meat pie. There is nothing better in my opinion because it's just like the best of both worlds. You have like a sweet, fluffy, crispy crust, and then you get the savory like chicken or beef or pork, whatever it is inside. And I want to learn how to make one from scratch one day.
Speaking of, okay, there's an English pub called House on Parliament that I went to the other night. I had a chicken pot pie.
I love a chicken pot pie.
Delicious, so good, so warming. And then this is a sidebar, Joe Jonas went 2 nights after that.
He definitely knew you went because
I know, we're trying
You
to,
guys are-
we just haven't like got our schedules
I
synced
think
yet.
they're gone
but-
now. I think they're done filming.
Well, I'll probably fly back for me. But. Sarah, what are you watching or reading this week?
I started a new romantasy book, and it's called Quicksilver. And I only bought it because I had seen like a bunch. It was just like on the displays at all the bookstores, and I was like, "Oh, it must be good." And I'm really liking it so far. But I need to flag that I need to like who decided in romantasy and in fantasy books that like we call immortal beings like fae. Like where did that start?
Like
because
F-A-E.
yeah, because like in in ACOTAR there's Fae. There's like in Fourth Wing, I think they reference Fae. Like when did that become a term that we choose? And there's so much crossover in all romantasy books I read of like the types of like runes and like all the types of things they talk about. And I understand these words exist already, but it's like, did someone just decide that we were going to use them in all fantasy books?
Probably just like co-opting pagan culture or something, to be honest.
I don't understand. Like, it's like every single, and then the issue is it almost pulls me out of the book because I go, oh, this is like ACOTAR, or oh, this is like, like you just like reference it back to like other things you've read. I just find it very interesting.
So wait, is it a page flipper right now?
It is. I'm already like over halfway through and I just started it on the weekend.
Okay.
So, and it's like a 700-page book. So it's...
Wait, we have to follow up because I feel like you talked about when you were going to Ireland, you were bringing a book that you were like that you were maybe going to DNF. Did you DNF it?
No, I didn't. I read it like basically cover to cover on the plane.
Really?
I was really proud of myself for not DNFing it because it ended up being really good.
Okay.
It was a me problem, not a book problem.
Which book was it again? Just to remind
It was
people?
called The Wedding People.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. Like the only way I can describe it is this woman that like goes to a little like place in Nantucket or whatever, and there's a wedding happening at the same time, but she's going there for like a really sad reason, and then the wedding people kind of like bring out this new side of her.
Okay.
And it's a lot of like character growth and personal growth.
What did you end up rating it?
4 stars.
Wow.
I had to not give it 5 because it did take me so long to get into it.
Yeah.
But granted, I think that might have been a Sarah problem, not a wedding people problem.
That's pretty impressive to go from a maybe going to DNF this to a 4-star.
I had nothing else to do. I was in a middle seat on a plane and I just like didn't want to watch any of the movies. I just sat there and read it for 6 hours straight and finished it. So I had really no other option. What about you? What are you watching or reading this week?
Okay, this is technically reading. However,
what do you mean technically?
It's also tied into something I've been listening to this week though. So I love this artist, Youth Lagoon.
Got it.
He ended the project.
It's one person.
Yeah.
Got it.
Trevor Powers. He ended the project in like 2016 after a couple albums. Maybe one of my favorite albums ever. Top 3 for sure. He released back in like 2015. He came out with an album in 2023, which was pretty good, but not like amazing. Not incredible. He just came out with another album called Rarely Do I Dream. And I'm so glad that I did this. And I'm like, I got to start doing this more often. So what I was reading this week was basically just interviews that he did about the album before I listened to it. So I gave myself a little primer, a little background on like where he was coming at with this album. I did know a little bit about it, that like he found essentially some like VHS tapes of his family or of him from like the first 4 years of his life, and he was gonna like cut those into some of the songs essentially as like this concept album. So I was like, let me just do a little bit of research. And the Fader article that was written about, or it was just an interview with him. Great primer. And then I loved the album experience, just sitting down, listening cover to cover. I'm like,
so that's a 2-in-1. That's what you're reading and listening to?
No, I got something else I'm listening to this week, but I think that's going to be a go-to for albums that I want to listen to cover to cover.
You're going to listen to the interviews before?
Yeah, check out a couple interviews just to give the artistry a little bit more of a nod as opposed to just like passing off an album.
Love that.
After the third
Okay,
song.
so with that, what are you listening to then if it's not?
Okay, this one's going to act as kind of a recommendation to you if you don't already listen to Chance Pena. You're gonna love this. Honestly, it's a little Noah Khan.
You need to like send me the links because you say all these names,
you know what,
and then
Sarah?
I leave this room. You just gotta
search up Spotify Talking Fast. What I'm listening to this week. It's a great playlist.
I should listen to it. Actually, I will.
I'm gonna send you the song.
Just send me the link, and I'll actually.
This
listen
was one
to
of
it.
those ones that was like teased on TikTok for a few weeks, and I was like, "That's a good song." And then it finally came out. Good. Specifically, "Good Love Die." Oh, you're gonna love this song, Sarah.
And it's like a Noah Khan vibe.
Yeah,
love that. Okay, maybe I will.
What about you? What are you listening to?
This is the funny thing. I pride myself on being someone that knows a lot of different music. But I don't know how I do, because when I like look back on the week and you ask me every single week, what are you listening to? It's really the same like couple things. Like I think I like get obsessed like for brief periods of time. Like even today I walked in, I was like, oh, I'm listening to Alex Warren. And Jaden's like, well, you already said that last week. And I was like, well, I'm still just listening to Alex Warren. And do you know what I revisited this week? Because my daily mix is A Star Is Born soundtrack.
Ooh,
great soundtrack.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And I was like, forgot. I was obsessed with the soundtrack when it came out. Like obsessed with it. Listen to it like constantly. Like I'll always remember Us That Way. Beautiful song. So I feel like I just like go obsessed for like a brief period of time, and then I circle back on things later. Whereas I feel like you're like like
I'm
a dog
sampling.
like hunting out like the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
hit. Like you're looking for like you're just like always looking for the next thing. Whereas music is something that I just like to go back to my same people
Hey,
always.
there's nothing wrong with
But
that.
then I go to a lot of shows and I realize I know a lot of music. So it's very confusing to me. Like I'm going to Whiskey Jam this week and I saw a list of artists. Like I'm going to know most of the
Whiskey
songs.
Jam?
So Whiskey Jam is a thing that's like based in Nashville. It's like a way that a bunch of artists like get started. It's like on
Oh,
Tuesday
okay,
nights or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
It's at a certain bar and they're bringing it to Toronto for one night.
Cool.
And it's going to be at Horseshoe.
Nice.
And so it's all these country artists that are playing. And I see the names and I like look at their songs and go, oh, how do I know all these songs though? Because I don't listen to anything new. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening in my brain.
You know, you
Also,
should go
it's
to too, because you're a Soho House member. Is that they brought back a series, or no, it's been going for a little while. I forget what it's called. Red Mike.
Oh yeah,
or
they've had it
something?
for a while.
Yeah, I shared out Baby Nova the other week on Talking
And
Fast.
they
And
were
Baby Nova's performing same night that your
Improv show
improv
is?
show is. Yeah.
Oh, so you can't go.
As well as an artist, I'll shout out Jay Ember from
So you
Toronto.
can't go.
Also a really
Sad.
good artist.
Okay, well, maybe we'll have to go to one of those one night. 'Cause
Yeah,
I need
100%.
to expand my music
Yeah,
taste.
yeah. Sarah, something you did this week.
I drove a new car.
Oh, yeah.
I drove.
That was a nice looking car.
Okay, I know. This is my first time getting. Okay, so for context, for you guys to understand how it works, you can get like media fleet cars, which basically is like you can get it for like a weekend or up to 2 weeks max. Like the contract you sign is literally you can't have the car for more than 2 weeks. And media fleet is like what they give people to review cars or like whatever. It's like giving an influencer a product to review, but because they can't just give you a car, you get the car for like a weekend.
Yeah.
So Cadillac reached out and was like, we know you are interested in getting a new car. We want you to drive our new EV, the Lyric. I'd never driven an EV before. I'd never driven a Cadillac. I made the mistake of looking up how expensive that car was before I started
expensive is
driving
it?
it.
What was
The
it?
base price is $90,000
Oh, wow. Okay.
before you start adding all the bells and whistles,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
88,000 before you start adding all the
You know
bells
what?
and whistles.
I didn't see the inside.
It was
I didn't really see
stunning.
the inside. I saw
It
the
was
outside and I was
beautiful.
like, yeah, that probably looks like 90.
And it's one of those cars that the light, the logo shines like onto the ground.
Oh,
like that's
really?
how you knew it was
Wait,
expensive.
outside?
Yeah,
Like-
like expensive cars do that.
Like the monster thing in a
Like
convenience
like
store?
the logo,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
logo shines onto the ground. Anyways, it drove so smooth. I've never.
So quiet, probably, eh? If
It
you've
was
never
so
driven
quiet,
one.
and also the acceleration is crazy how fast it accelerates, and like I felt so safe. This thing, okay, if there was like a car coming up beside you, or like you're parking and it thinks you're gonna hit something on the right side,
Get the beeps?
no. On top of that, it would vibrate under my right
no
leg
way.
or my left leg, depending on which side the like thing potentially is. And I drive a car right now that has zero technology. Like when I say zero,
You're still
it just
rocking
has,
like a tape player?
yeah, it doesn't have a backup camera. It has nothing. And I learned that backup cameras are a standard in all vehicles now. Like
Also, if you're driving and maybe having to parallel park in Toronto, I would say it's essential.
100%. Well, I don't parallel park, so that's why I don't drive to this podcast studio. So, anyways, I drove this car, and the issue is now I'm like, how can I ever go back? Like, this thing's amazing. The EV was stunning. I did the charging for the first time. I charged that thing, and it was like $15, and that was at an expensive pump to charge. It just like it was beautiful.
Was it easy to find like a place to charge it?
Yeah. The only thing was I didn't have an adapter for the Tesla superchargers. So like those ones you have to have a special adapter.
yeah,
but
yeah.
Petro Canada had EV charging. And there's all
Oh,
these
really?
apps now where you can like do it.
Like,
and
to find it.
the
Yeah,
car
yeah.
itself had Google Maps built in where it will tell you
The closest.
if
and that
I
kind of
go
shit.
like me to Coburg, it will say on arrival what percentage of battery you will have. If you have to stop and charge, it adds that into your timing. Like
Okay, how is that? How is it? It's a 5-seater?
yeah.
How is the storage in the back?
It was huge.
Yeah?
It was such a big car. It was so beautiful. How can I go back? And then I drove my regular car today, and I
You
was
just like
like
don't return it and hope that they don't know.
Jacob literally told me to do that. He goes, just don't return it. It was
kidding.
amazing. It was amazing. If anyone else wants to give me cars to borrow that have modern technology,
Yeah, listen.
I will gladly take them and review them. I just have only driven a Cadillac now, which I understand is it's on the upper end of luxury.
We have a lot of like accounts people that listen to this podcast.
Well,
if you're
accounts people,
listening-
if you want to give me a car for the weekends, then I will gladly review it because I'm blinded by my love for that car right now because I think even if it wasn't great, the fact that it has basic technology that I don't normally have, I was just in awe of. Like CarPlay. I don't have that in my car.
That's wild to me.
Anyways, what's something that you did?
Okay. Also, can we do like a talking fast parallel park?
I
Talking
can
fast?
parallel park.
I thought you just said you couldn't.
No, I know how to. I don't risk it in like the car that we have right now just because it's a driving blind spot.
Oh,
But
sorry.
I
Okay,
rock
okay,
at
okay,
parallel
okay.
parking.
Okay, never mind.
I'm really good at it. I just don't really do it because I don't like the
I got
vehicle
you.
we have.
Something I did this week. marathon sign up. I'm joining you,
I
Sarah.
saw you did it.
We are both going to be running the
You're
Toronto
gonna run
Marathon.
it like an hour and a half faster
I
than
don't
me.
know.
It made me feel better about how I haven't started training yet, though. That you just signed up.
No, you just need 16 weeks. What? That's going to be June. It's June 17th or something.
That's my
It's
birthday.
your birthday. It's your birthday. You start.
Okay, well, it's fine. I considered going for a run today, but then it was raining when I woke up this morning. It was cold, so I didn't. But this week, my goal is to go on my first winter run to get me back into it. So
I'm excited. I felt, you know what it was? You know what the thing was for me? I felt a little sluggish in and around life. And I was like, you know what? I think
need something to look forward to.
Not necessarily. I just think that I can be the best version of myself when I'm training for a marathon.
So I've been feeling very sluggish, and I know it's because I'm lacking structure in my life right now.
Yeah,
so I know
it's
that once I
structure.
actually start the because I have to run a half marathon in May.
Non-stop physical
So once
activity.
I start doing the structure, I know I will.
It's like it's a crazy thing, but it's also
I had a
health
mild
choice.
panic about it yesterday because I was like, oh, I'm actually running 42.2 kilometers, and
It's
I have not been running.
far,
It's far.
but it's also so fun.
I know I'll be fine. I know I have enough time, but I just have to I know once I start, I'll feel so much better. It's just I think it's scary to start it over from the beginning because I hate that.
Do you have a
so
plan
slow.
yet?
No, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. That's my
Neither
thing.
have I. I got to figure that out too.
Well, if you have any recommendations, please give them to
I'll
me.
build a plan. I'll show you my plan.
And finally, what is something you're loving?
Sarah, this is an easy one.
Easy?
I went outside on the weekend and it was a little sunny outside. You know when it starts to melt?
Yeah.
Now I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but when it starts to melt outside, you have a lot of snow and you're like, what's that? That's the smell of spring. That's the
And do you
smell
know
of
what?
spring.
I had that feeling today too because there was a lot of puddles. And
Puddles.
I was like, that's a sign
Typically
of
I would
spring.
hate puddles. I love puddles right now. No, what I heard though, I heard a little bird chirping. You know when you hear the birds chirping in the trees? That means spring's coming.
Wow.
And you know what I also did? I was in the dog park and I saw some buds on a tree.
Whoa.
I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I stood there for 5 minutes with my iPhone 16 Pro. couldn't focus.
Trying to take photos of them.
You should see my camera roll. It looks like I'm a
photos of
90-year-old
the
person
buds.
because it's just I had to go full influencer, put my hand behind
That's
it.
so funny.
What's something you're loving this week?
I'm loving improv.
Yeah.
I have my first improv show this week. This
going.
Thursday.
I'm going.
Jacob's going. I just think you'd actually buy a ticket. It also sold out. Tara went to go buy a ticket yesterday and then she had a panic because it sold out. But luckily Haley bought an extra one, so I guess she can go now. But it's literally sold out.
Are you nervous?
Okay, so I wasn't. And then our last class, we didn't practice. And I get it. It's improv. The whole point is you can't prep, but I don't know. The lack of structure is killing me a little bit. I know it'll be fine. I know all the games.
Is there any I get nervous going to an improv show as an audience member. Is there audience participation?
Lots.
Oh my God.
I think
But
I think
not
I'm,
up on stage kind of shit. Though,
No,
right?
no, not you
I'm
guys on
good with
stage.
but shout out
Yeah, so it's
stuff.
as an example, I think I'm hosting one of the games called Sex with Me is which basically how it works. It's just it's a warm up. It's almost like a stand up warm up.
Yeah.
So we all stand in a line and I host it and I go up and go, okay, can somebody please, hey everyone, welcome to the John Candy Box Theater, blah, blah, blah. We're looking for a suggestion. So could somebody please tell me a suggestion of something you might find in a living room?
Couch.
Sex with me is like a couch. Now everyone will walk up and go, sex with me is like a couch. It's not always comfortable, it's whatever line comes into their head.
It's always wrapped.
Yeah, and you wrap it like that, and then everyone goes, whoa.
Oh no, that was mine.
Oh,
That
it's
was
not
mine.
always. That's a good one too, actually. And so it's just like that. So that's there'll be a primer game, and then we'll go from
That's
a
fun.
primer game into some short form scenes that are also get suggestions from the audience, and then we'll do a 15-minute long scene where everything is inspired by one or two suggestions we got earlier.
And how many people are in the class / on the stage?
11. But
Okay,
we won't
fun.
all do every single game. We'll each be in at least 2.
Is the bar open?
Is the bar open? I'd hope you're all drinking before you have to watch me do improv. Anyways,
No, I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'm saying I love improv this week because I might not love it after all of my friends watch me.
This is probably
do
the
improv.
culmination of this class,
Yeah,
right?
and then I start improv 5 on Monday.
Oh, there is a 5.
Yeah.
I thought that we only went to 4 for some reason.
No, I'd have another show at 5. So
Oh yeah, okay. Well, these tickets are going to go on public because Sarah, as soon as I was nice this time. Sarah sent me the link and I didn't publish it. But for Improv 5, I'm gonna log into the Talking Fast account and just publish it with a sticker link to buy.
Oh my god,
They're gonna need to upgrade to history probably.
No. Because people just want to watch me embarrass myself. Ring, ring, ring. It's another voicemail episode. Remember how like 2 years ago I said we were going to hook up this phone and take real voices?
You know what? One day it's going to happen.
One day it's going to happen, and I will not
It's going to be so fun.
It's going to be so cool. Stay tuned. Keep listening every week because one week we might actually set up the phone. But with that, we have a voicemail episode. If you're new here, voicemail is just a fancy word for mailbag. We used to call it mailbag, but voicemail makes more sense because, you know.
Used to for 10 seconds on the first episode.
Yeah. It's like on the first episode, I used to sit on that side and I hated that side. So anyways, it's because we're a telephone themed show. You can send us questions to Talking Fast Show on Instagram. I also, in the broadcast channel on my personal pages, we always I call it for questions. That's where a lot of these are going to come from.
It's a party in there too. You should join.
It is fun. It's actually, people are super engaged with it, which I love. And they also talk to each other. Which
you know what I
makes me
love
really
is
happy.
when you say like, oh, how are we feeling on this Sunday or Monday or whatever. And then people just share their hurts.
And they say, honestly, like some people are having a good day. Some people are having a bad day. And then people like comment back and forth. It's so wholesome. So you should definitely join it. We have like 2,700 friends in it. It's great. It's called POV around my close friends. Anyways, but what you can also do is email us. And we got an email this week. Sarah. So our email gets to be the star of the show because if you email us, we will read it and try to give you advice. So Jacob's going to read out.
This is also my first time reading this, so I hope there are no words I don't know how to say. But also, I don't have advice for this yet because I haven't read it.
Okay, well, I'll start then.
Hello, Talking Fast. I need some advice. Great. We love that.
We are here to give advice. That's our job.
I'm currently employed by a grocery store chain in BC, Canada. I'm a department manager. Sounds pretty serious.
Yep.
And a 27-year-old female. My current manager has approached me about recommending me for a transfer/promotion. Obviously, I'm excited to know he thinks highly of me and wants to promote one of his employees. Now, sounds like there's a but. Probably in this transfer would come a significant move. There it is. In order to move up in the company, I would be looking at moving to Vancouver, which is a 12-hour drive from my current hometown. That's serious distance. I have no family or connections in Vancouver. I currently own an apartment, which would still result in an insanely high mortgage in the city. Would you move to a new city where you know no one for a job promotion, or would you stay local at a job you really do enjoy? Please keep me anonymous. We will. And we have advice for you, anonymous.
Are you thinking the same thing I am? You're only 27 years old.
I would say go and do it. 100% go and do it.
So
now, the one thing though, there is a caveat, which is
affordability.
I currently own an apartment. So you're going to have this apartment. However, sounds like an investment.
I was going to say,
for me.
you don't have to sell the apartment.
Keep it, rent it.
Don't
especially
rent
above market pricing though.
No, but especially in small towns, rental apartments are hard to come by. So I feel like you'll be able to rent it. You're only 27 years old. Mel Robbins, who I'm a big Mel Robbins girl now, I listen to her podcast all the time. She says, live somewhere in your 20s. That's not your home. And if you've never lived away from home, by the sounds of it, like this is your hometown.
Yeah.
So
and no friends or anything in Vancouver.
You will make friends.
Vancouver's a big city. I love Vancouver.
Vancouver, I've never been.
You've never been, but you're going soon.
Am I?
That's true. Did I make that up? I totally thought you had.
I think I might be, but like nothing's planned. Apparently, I'm going to Vancouver soon. I think you will. Look, what is the worst that could happen? You get this transfer.
You feel nervous.
Obviously. You're still in the same province. You're not, it's like almost like a baby step of moving. Like it's not like you're moving to Toronto from like BC, or it's not like you're moving to another country. You're moving somewhere still in the same province where you speak the language, you like know the scene, whatever. You've probably been to Vancouver before. And even if you don't know anybody there, give it like a year. And if you still don't love it, you can probably go back to your home. Like your hometown's always going to be there, and those people are always going to be there, and you'll be able to.
It's a 12-hour drive, which is pretty far.
Yeah.
However, if you're 12 hours away from Vancouver, you got to be like
middle of nowhere.
Or close to Calgary, close to the other side
that
of the
way.
border. Maybe you're just keeping that anonymous, but if you're there,
I don't understand the West Coast. I'm sorry. But yes, it's
maybe a flight is what I'm saying. Maybe a flight's optional. If a flight's optional, you're even closer.
That's
and
true.
If you're getting a promotion, guess what? Probably
more
get more money, more opportunities. This is maybe the stepping stone to the next thing.
Yeah.
That is like, oh, maybe you move back and you own 3 stores in your local area.
I just feel like there's probably such a ceiling in a small, as someone that grew up in a small town, there's such a ceiling for what you can do in a small town in like certain career paths. And I feel like if you have the opportunity to try something else out, and again, you are only 27 years old. Like actually I'd be telling you this advice if you're like 40 as well, but also you're old, you're so young. I just don't think like you want to live with any what ifs. Like especially if you get this job, like I wouldn't want you to like be like, oh, I had the opportunity to move to Vancouver when I was young, but I like didn't. And I like always wonder what would have happened.
Here's the other side of that too. The what if is, the what if on the other side, if you do it, what if I go and do it and I don't make friends and I don't like it, or it is too expensive, or I don't like Vancouver, I don't like this role, I want to go back to my old job or want a different job. You can still do that. Yeah. I think that a lot of people, sometimes people can get overwhelmed, myself included, with big decisions that you have to make, thinking that, if I make this decision, it's going to be permanent. I have to go and live this life, follow that path forever, when it's the complete opposite. If anything, showing yourself by making this decision to go and do something that's wildly different than what you're used to is proof that you can just go and change it again and go back to what you're used to, or, find something better that you're more comfortable with.
I completely agree. I've always wanted to live in another place and I like never did it. I've just never really had the opportunity to, like, there just hasn't been a thing that like popped up that made sense for me. And even if it was only for like a couple of years, I just think it's like you learn so much about yourself and like what you want and what you prioritize and everything. And you'll meet new people. You're literally going, if you're changing for jobs, there'll be people.
That's what I was going to say. Sometimes people make the decision to move for a variety of reasons. And like, you don't like, relationship is maybe a good one or a big one where like you move with a partner who has a job or something and you're really isolated then because you have to like find a job and do all that. But if you're going for work, exactly, you're gonna have people in the office, in the store, probably can introduce you to other people.
You can join our broadcast channel and meet other people that are from Vancouver. I also just feel like now in 2025 with technology and everything, there's just like so many more things set up to meet people in a new city, whether it's like different, like a workout class or different groups, or like we had the like Run Club girls online. They were talking about how like so many people do it to meet friends. Like there's so many different options now too. So I don't think that should be something that deters you. I think like if there's, I would just say if there's even like 10% of you that wants to do it, you have to listen to that 10%
over. If you're sending
over
this email,
you want to do it.
You're probably looking for a little encouragement to make the jump. There it is.
You
were telling you have to.
It's like the girl the girl that emailed us and said that she like didn't know whether she should break up with her boyfriend.
Guess what? She broke up and she's happy.
And the opening thing was, we said, if you're emailing us, you probably should break up with your boyfriend. And they broke up and we got an update and she's great.
She's happy. She's thriving.
So like a year from now, when I finally go to Vancouver and you're thriving at your new job.
Now, granted, that breakup conversation, going back to that one, that was probably really hard. And it's probably stressful, and it probably came with a few weeks, months, whatever. But the things that are the hardest are what is most worth it. Exactly. The most
and
rewarding.
Your hometown's not going anywhere. Like, you can always go back. So, absolutely.
And grocery chains. Hello, go watch Superstore. I know Sarah fucking loves Superstore. Or go watch Employee of the Month.
The biggest thing is Jacob only started like managing me when I was watching, in my peak of watching Superstore, so he thinks I'm obsessed. I only watched it once.
It was just like, what is, if I was to describe Sarah's personality, talks fast and loves Superstore.
Even though I couldn't even name you any of the characters anymore. It's not even a sitcom I've rewatched. Anyways, but you can watch Superstore, go watch it, and move to Vancouver. Why not?
And listen, okay, here's the other thing. Don't send us another email until you're in Vancouver. Send us like a, stay anonymous, so don't send us a selfie, but like send us a little update.
That we know.
How it's going. Because we want to follow along your journey here, and we will be there to support you.
I love that.
And when Sarah goes to Vancouver, she'll get coffee with you.
Yeah. Jacob just like telling me, and all these people are going to be emailing. Okay, thank you so much. So if you want great advice from us, just like the one that you just heard, make sure you email us, talkingfastshow@gmail.com. See, and you can keep it anonymous.
100%.
We don't spill people's personal information on here. We don't care.
I almost made up a name for them, but then I was like, that's going to be rude because people are going to think that's real.
Now I'm in the broadcast channel chat, and we're going to see what some of you guys asked. First question is, what has been your favorite place you've ever traveled? I feel like this is just because I just came off of traveling, so I feel like it's...
Ooh, okay. I'm going to say...
Can I guess what yours is? Is it Italy?
Guess. No.
Oh. What
guess
is
again.
It? Portugal? Did you go to Portugal?
No.
Oh.
I went to Portugal, you went to Vancouver. No, I'm going to say all those places were great. Or one. I like the East Coast a lot.
Like Nova Scotia?
Yep. Nova Scotia's great. I liked the Cabot Trail. Driving around Cape Breton was fantastic. dove into the ocean there and swam, which is great. Maybe that.
That's a good take. We love the Nova Scotia love.
Yeah.
My favorite place I've ever traveled to. Oh God, they're all so different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how am I supposed to compare like Bali, Indonesia to like London, England? You know what I mean? Like they're all so different. I loved Bali. It was beautiful. It ended poorly, so there's always going to be a little bit of like oh no, but I loved it there. It's a place where I was like, oh, I see why people come and live here for like 3 months.
For sure.
The south of France, maybe because it's like some of the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life, but it's like kind of accessible. Like it's not too far.
What about top place in Canada?
Nova Scotia, like East Coast.
But like, is a specific area aside from your cottage? Like, is there?
PEI then maybe.
Yeah, PEI is nice.
It's beautiful, or I also love St. John, Newfoundland. Shout out Newfoundland.
I gotta go.
I know Newfies like listen to this podcast. I love Newfoundland because I stayed there for like 12 days, so it was enough that I was like in St. John.
Did you get screeched in?
Yeah, there's a whole video of me on the internet doing it.
We talked about this before. Yeah.
It's the frozen fish and whatever, but it was like I did it.
You organized it for people.
All the hockey media. Yeah. I hated every second of it because I'm scared of fish, but I did it. I did the damn thing, but I love Newfoundland.
It's a dead fish though, isn't it? Live fish?
No, it's dead. It's a dead fish. It's frozen. It feels like you're kissing an ice pack. So it's not that bad.
I would love to do that. If anyone can hook that up, get me screeched in.
You can't get screeched in unless you're in, because you have to have the screech.
No, I know.
Too.
No, that's what I'm saying. If anyone is like
wants to send us to
owns
Newfoundland,
a bar or something, and I'll pay for my flight.
Let's go to Newfoundland, do a live podcast. You get screeched
And
in live on stage.
Yeah, let's do it.
Actually, for realsy though, as a side note, if you're listening to this podcast, please tell us where you would want to see a live show. Because if enough people tell us a place, why the hell not? Why don't we just go?
We should just go.
I don't have a 9 to 5 anymore. Like, let's just do it.
True. That'd be fun.
Izzy and I were talking about this before the show. Like, I just like before like filming this episode. I just like, why not? Like, why not do it in Nova Scotia?
Well, why not move to Vancouver? Why not just go and do something?
Exactly. Why
even
not
if
just
it costs, I'll pay for my own flight.
Good, you were going to anyways. Unless a brand wants to pay for it. Jacob's like, now I'm going to get to work selling to make sure that somebody sponsors. But for real though, let us know. We'd love to do. Izzy told us people are asking for more live shows.
Though, because I feel like sometimes it's hard for a brand to like really get that vision. Like if we just went and did one.
Well, what if we do one about like how much we love Canada, because we love Canada, and we go and we do one in Nova Scotia.
Okay, yeah. So tell us,
and then
where
we could also do a run in the morning. Like we could do a run club in the morning on location, and then we go and shower and get all nice, and then we go to the show at night.
I love it. Tell us where you want us to come to, but
because if we randomly get a bunch of people from like Chatham, Kent, then we'll go.
Oh. Hell yeah.
I don't even really know where Chatham, Kent is.
By London, Ontario.
I just know because I was on Monopoly Canada.
It's down by London. It's nice down there.
Our favorite place to travel might be for a live podcast if you tell us where it is.
Sarah, how do I get to your broadcast channel?
Okay, it's on my main page.
I'm looking at your profile.
It says POV, you're on my close friends.
Oh, okay. For anyone, it's directly under the link. Just click that.
And then go to the most recent one, and then go to the replies.
I see.
Go to the replies. Wow.
For anyone trying to get on Sarah's broadcast channel who's like me and has no idea how broadcast channel works,
in real time.
Go and do that.
Any hidden gem restaurants or cafes in Toronto?
Oh,
this is like right up your alley.
I haven't been to it, but it's getting a lot of hype right now.
Is it like what, you haven't been to it? How are you about to recommend it?
Well, it's in the Junction. I have enough friends who've gone to it to say like it's such a good spot and it's been on my hit list for a while.
Okay.
Called Docks. Is it Docks Green Lounge? It's something like that. People just call it Docks though. It looks amazing. I'd love to go. It used to be called something else, and I used to work up there and go to that place at lunch. So I'm excited to go back and check this place out. I would say that one for sure in the northwest end of the city. If I was going to the southeast end of the city, close-ish to where we record this podcast, Tabuli's great. I would go to Goods and Provisions for either a cocktail or bites or full-on dinner. It's very close to here.
A place I always recommend to people if they're like, especially going west on Ossington, is Seuss. is like Korean
Ooh, I
fusion
haven't
food,
been.
and they do a tasting menu that's only like $70 a person, and it is so much food you will like be rolling out of that place, but it is so good, and it's just like such unique food that you would never. And it was one of those things that's like you get the tasting menu because like I look at the menu and I have no idea
Yeah.
what to order. Anyways, Soos, SOOS, delicious.
Okay.
And you can almost always get a table. They have a really big table at the back, which is really cute, so you can like do it for like a birthday
Do, like,
party or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Anyways, I love it. It's so good.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Cafes. I'm not the person to be asking about coffee shops in Toronto.
Go to any of Rooms. Rooms 915 DuPont is what you probably see on Instagram.
Oh.
But Rooms Coffee, there's one in Ossington. There's I think 3 or 4
It's
of
like
them
the
right
downside
now.
of like where I like. There's so many perks where I live, but there's so many like restaurants and this and that, whatever. But I feel like everything is like chains or like more commercialized. So even like the coffee and stuff, like Quantum Coffee is amazing. It's in the Well, but it's like it used to be at the corner of King Spadina.
Yeah.
And then now it's in the Well. It's great, but it's also like in the Well in a building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're getting that vibe of going to like Forget Me Not, which is like a cute little cafe. Forget Me Not's a good one. If you want to see Shawn Mendes in Toronto, go to Forget Me Not Cafe.
I do like the Bevy locations too. There's one
Bevy?
we went to it in the CBC.
That's what the place is called?
Is that what that's called?
I probably.
I think it's called Bevy. And then there's two in East End. There's a new one that
Oh,
just
right,
opened
where you can
up.
like rent out co-working spaces there.
I think so, yeah.
I
Yeah.
forgot about that
Yeah.
spot. That one's also very good. You're
The
right.
East, the River and Gerard or River and
Milky's is my
Dundas one.
favorite coffee shop in the city, though.
Good
They
breakfast
have one at
sandwich.
Stacked, but I think they originated on Dundas West.
Yeah, probably.
Milky's
are good
is my
ones. Those
favorite.
are good
I
ones.
feel like that's a good list to start.
Yeah.
Did talking to Chrystia Freeland inspire you to be more involved in politics? I almost joined the Liberal Party after your podcast episode to vote for her.
Oh, wow. Shout out.
Wow.
Shout out
Well, that was the
political
whole point
action.
of why she came on.
I don't know if it would make us more involved in politics.
I think like a misunderstanding is like just because someone doesn't like actively like speak about politics a lot like publicly on social media doesn't mean that they're not actively involved in it, like whatever. I'm not part of a political party. I'm not like I've never joined one because I've pretty much voted differently for every single election I've ever voted in. But I did see a TikTok today where someone was talking about how she's like, my biggest flex is ever since I turned 18 I voted in every single election I possibly could, whether it's like municipal, provincial, or federal. And I've done the same. And the comments were shocking me that I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe people haven't done that. Like I remember being 18 and being so excited that I finally got to vote. And there was a federal election the year I was 18. So it was like so exciting.
A lot of people don't even know who their representatives are, whether you voted for them and they were elected or you voted for someone else and someone else got elected.
Which is crazy.
You got to know who they are on every level. Who's your city councillor?
I know. Or I asked somebody the other day, I said, what's your riding? Because like we were it was like whatever.
Right.
And I was like, I'm Spadina Fort York. Like, what are you? I didn't know. And I was like, okay, but you have to know. Like just like little things like that.
Spaffa.
It's super simple. And just, I don't know. I think if anything, like the current political climate that's like south of us and like how scary it is that it could come up north of us is just, we have to take more control of it.
Okay, so to interpret this question in a slightly different way than we've kind of answered it right here, maybe it did create a little bit more political action because you also did put out a couple of videos.
Yeah,
one
that's true.
about,
I did
like,
too.
pushing people
I
to
will
vote.
say, it's so funny because I actually got annoyed because someone was like, can you please make a video? Like you need to speak out. And I hate when people like tell me to do something when I was already planning on doing it because then it makes it look like I didn't actually intend to do it initially.
Yeah.
But I was. The thing that is like, I had to send them to Jacob because I was so politically charged and angry that it was borderline coming across like, okay, like you have to be like a little bit nicer maybe because I was like being like really fired up. And then I just figured the most natural way to share was like a vlog. And it was great. I actually had, okay, do you remember Paula who worked at the front desk of the
I
RTA
love Paula.
office?
I would always ask Paula for like new
Paula
paper
follows me
and
on
stuff.
Instagram and Paula sends me a message on Instagram after that vlog and goes, Sarah, I just want to thank you so much. I always assumed I couldn't vote if I didn't have a voter card. I had no idea I could just go with my ID. I went and voted tonight. I brought along like my friend and like, thank you. We had no idea other than that video. So I was like, fuck, like that's the reason why you do it. Like Paula wouldn't have known how to vote. She sent me 2 messages and then she shared it with her friends and said, all my friends are now going to vote because of your vlog. Like she's not who I thought the demographic of person was that was going to go vote, but I loved it. It made me so happy. Shout out Paula. If you are an RTA grad that is listening to this podcast, you know who I'm talking about. Like it's stuff like that you just like don't even know unless people talk about it.
I think you talked about this in one of your videos responding to, I forget what it was, but one of the concerning things is that a lot of the questions that we got for the Chrystia Freeland interview were questions that should have been directed at either municipal level politicians or provincial level politicians. And I think that maybe if I was going to be more active in some sense, it would be to educate people
On the difference.
the differences. And it's a lot of that stuff's pretty basic, and maybe it's just, you haven't been exposed to it for whatever reason. But to encourage people to get a little bit more educated when it comes to just who's in charge of what, essentially.
Also, I think civics, civics was like half a semester and careers was the other half. Civics should be an entire semester.
It should be a class every year, probably.
Like, it's insane. Like, civics should be something that everyone is actively like learning more regularly. I think it's insane. That's like half a credit, half a semester in high school. Like, it should be a full semester. I think that was like literally a baseline of it. Yeah. But yeah, the biggest difference is learning what the different policies are that are affected based off whether it is municipal, the snow issue in Toronto and the snow plows, and our friend Edward having to go and shovel. That was the most wholesome thing I've ever seen in my life. Shout out Edward. I showed everyone that video. Go, look, this guy knows having to shovel the sidewalks. But like, that's municipal. And then healthcare. You can't get a family doctor.
You know what I saw that fucking broke my heart yesterday? What? I was where was I can't remember. I was having my casual pint. I saw someone in a wheelchair rolling down the middle of the road because they couldn't.
That's absurd.
They couldn't go on the sidewalk.
But like, that's a municipal issue, and then that was like a municipal decision. And then if you you can't get a family doctor right now in Ontario. Well, guess what? That's a provincial issue. And then a federal issue is like the carbon tax, and like there's like more like international relations and all these other things. So it's just like educating yourself on that level. What's crazy is by the time this comes out, we'll maybe have a new premier or still have the same premier in place.
And there will be a new Liberal leader.
Yeah, and there'll be a new Yeah, there will be. And they might have already called an election.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of action between
in the
when
next
we're
couple
recording
weeks.
this.
But also to say is, I'm glad that you actually like enjoyed that podcast. We're definitely open to speaking to more politicians because
I did see one comment in one of the clips that we released, and they were like, "Oh, will you have on a politician from the Conservative Party and the NDP party or the Green Party, so you're more balanced?" And I responded to it, and I was just like, we'd love to. Like, tell them to come on.
Call us. What if you just called Taylor up? If you called us, like the thing was like Chrystia Freeland's team we said that in the podcast, reached out to us and we went, absolutely. She's the former deputy prime minister. Even if she wasn't actively running, we would have found it so interesting to have her on. And as long as we think that it will bring value to you guys, of course. Are you kidding me? Do you know how hilarious it would be to have Pierre Poilievre sitting there and like going at his throat with questions? Give it to me.
I would love that.
I know you would. That would be amazing. Anyways, so who knows? Maybe we'll have more politicians on in the future if we're not a political podcast, but
we should do a group panel where we have just like a country musician, a Canadian federal politician,
like Preston Pablo. We bring up Preston Pablo, like an actor from like Degrassi or something. And then we've got like Jagmeet and Poilievre or something.
I would love that.
To balance it all out. But anyways, I'm glad that people got something out of that episode though. So that was kind of the whole point. That's all the time we have today for voicemail. If we left you at the edge of your seat, you're like, we want more questions answered.
Email us.
That
was a great question. Thank you to
talkingfastshow@gmail.com. Yes, I really hope. Best of luck with your decision on whether you're going to move to Vancouver or not. I'm going to be thinking about it. I'm going to be thinking about you. And you can always follow us on Instagram at Talking Fast Show. If you want to ask us more questions, keep up to date on everything we're doing. This has been another voicemail episode. I've been Sarah. That's been Jacob. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.